We often talk a lot about taxes, and we talk about being tax smart, tax efficient. There's you have the ability to not do anything and kind of let things come, or you can proactively plan and look for opportunities.
Absolutely. Well, we always talk about it. We love talking taxes here. And so, how do I become tax smart? I mean, that's something that we're looking for. I mean, the big thing is again, I don't mind paying taxes. I just don't want to pay any more than I have to. So let's dive into some common questions. The first one, I want to talk about the required minimum distributions, or an RMD.
Required minimum distributions apply to your pre-tax accounts, whether that's the pre-tax portion of your 401k, 403b, TSP, or your traditional IRAs. It's money you've taken a deduction on when you put it in there. It's grown tax-free for however long you've had the account, and then when it comes out, it's 100% reportable, as taxable income.
Right.
And so that money people have had there for a long time. It's a large portion of net worth.
Usually,
yeah, it's typically there, and it's oftentimes money people are looking at to supplement income.
Right, but the other big question is what age do I have to do it? So here's the first question for our viewers. Okay, so IRS mandated withdrawals, right? That's what we're talking about right now, from tax deferred retirement accounts. Those are those IRAs, 401k plans, where you got those tax deductions, throughout all these years, right? When do they currently kick in? Right now they kick in at 73, but here's the question. But it's going to rise to age 75 in what year?
In 2033.
2033, it goes to age 75.
It goes to age 75. So if you're figuring out that math, individuals born 1960 or later are going to as of right now, have the 2 extra years before those RMDs kick in.
Right. So let's dive into this, because that's the first question. Okay, now that we know when the RMDs kick in, and everybody's different, right? It really depends on when you were born. But I want to talk about, how do we minimize RMDs? That's a big one, and this is actually kind of a tough one. I mean, it sounds great, but unfortunately, not a lot of people do it, because what happens is you've been feeding, and then let's say you're not pulling it out enough from those RMDs, and then boom, you hit a certain age. We have a chart we're going to show here where it could potentially put you up into those higher tax tiers.
Real quick before we get into the example, you have, for ballpark purposes, RMDs at 73 are a little under 4%, kind of around 75. They're approximately 4%, and that percentage grows each year.
Right.
So each year you're taking a higher percent of that year-end balance. If the accounts are continuing to grow, outpacing your withdrawals, that RMD gets bigger and bigger.
Right.
So in this example here, you have an individual. It's comparing, deferring, waiting until RMDs kick in, or taking them early.
Sure.
And it's really important to review where the marginal tax rates kind of have that substantial increase. Right. So whatever your tax situation, income situation is, if the difference down in 10-12, but 12 to 22, and then again from 24 to 32, there's a large marginal increase.
So if you take a look at this chart, you can see that you got the brackets, right? On the right-hand side, those are the tax rates, 10 and 12, and then 22, 24, 32. Look at this big jump here. I mean, that right there just tells us, it's screaming at us, saying, do tax planning. Because, okay, doesn't it make sense to pay taxes when they're on sale? Because look at that gap right there, Tommy. Look at that gap. So again, that's some opportunity where you can do potentially Roth conversions during that period of time before the required minimum distribution comes in, which leads to the second question. Can you convert an RMD to a Roth?
You cannot convert the RMD amount. RMDs are considered, the first dollars out of your account. So when you hit RMD age, the first money that comes out has to go to you, to a non-qualified investment account. You can do QCDs, but it has to come out of that account, and then money beyond that can be converted.
Right.
But you can see here in this first example, you're converting, at a higher tax rate.
Right.
You've bumped up to that bracket.
Because that's the question, in terms of your future tax landscape, am I going to head up into higher tax brackets? I mean, those are the things we're looking for.